Hello, this is Sondra Oster Baras bringing you a few words of Bible from the heart of Biblical Israel. This week's Torah portion is Emor, and in it, in chapter 23, we have a whole list of all the biblical festivals. I'd like to focus on a few scriptures beginning in verse 15 that is actually not about a holiday, but it's about the time that connects two holidays, the time between the holiday of Passover and the holiday of Shavuot. Now, interesting enough, that's exactly where we are right now. As we read this Torah portion, this is the time period. We are after Passover and we are before Shavuot. And Scripture tells us that we should count. We need to begin counting from the day after we bring the Omer. The Omer is the barley offering that is brought on the second day of Passover. And we have to count 7 full weeks. And at the end of those 7 full weeks, 50 days, in other words, on the 50th day, we therefore celebrate the holiday of Shavuot. Now, it's very interesting, by the way, what the words mean here. The holiday of Shavuot means literally weeks, and it stands for the fact that it is 7 weeks, and therefore this is what we are going to be celebrating. Here, in this particular place, it is called the holiday of weeks in the Bible, but not right here. Here it's actually called the holiday of the first fruits, because at that point you're bringing the wheat offering, the first fruits of your wheat harvest, okay, and you bring that, and that's where it's called here. But in English, it's called Pentecost, and Penta, of course, refers to 5 or to 50. Okay, in this case, it's taking from this scripture that you are counting 7 weeks, 50 days. So the 50 days then is the Pentecost. So that is how it is referred to in English. Now, what are we doing during this counting period? It's a very, very odd commandment. And usually all the other holidays, every other holiday, there's a date given. But there's no date given for this holiday. It's just 50 days or 7 weeks, after the 7 weeks. Why? What is going on here? So first of all, you have to have a little bit of an understanding of how the lunar calendar works. All of our holidays are based on the lunar calendar, and a lunar month can either be 29 days or 30 days. And the way today we have a fixed calendar. And it's basically alternating 29 and 30-day months. And it works out approximately, it ends up more or less according to when the moon, becomes the start of the moon and the end of the moon. The full moon being the middle of the month, okay? But in ancient times, they would actually begin a month only when someone saw the new moon. And so there was variety between it was 29 days or 30 days. And if it was a particularly cloudy day, maybe it would have been even an extra day until they actually saw the moon. And therefore, instead of giving a date, because then the date could change. Okay, a date, if it's a particular date, it wouldn't necessarily be 50 days after the Passover holiday. It could be a few, going in either direction. And it was very, very important, therefore, that we have the 50 days. Now, we can talk about, 7, it's on the 50th day. So the number here is less 50, it's more the 7 times 7. And we know 7 is a very, very important number. There's 7 days of the week. We have 7, and here in this case we have 7 times 7, so that number 7 happens not just 7 days of creation, 7 days of the week, but 7 times that. We have the sabbatical year, which we're in right now as well, which is on the 7th year. And very interestingly, something that kind of parallels this, in the sabbatical year cycle, we have 7 cycles of 7 years, okay? And very parallel to this of 7 cycles we have 7 weeks, 7 cycles of a week. And in the case of sabbatical year, we have 7 cycles of the 7 years, okay? And then there's an extra year after that 7 cycles, and that's the 50th year, and that's called the Jubilee. So here, this, in a sense, this day is similar to a Jubilee. So that just kind of gives you, some kind of indication of why it might be so important that these numbers have significance spiritually. But I would like to focus on the counting, because that's really the focus here. It's not on when is the holiday, but the fact that you're supposed to do the counting. And there's a beautiful, beautiful midrash that talks about who's counting and why are we counting. And our tradition is that, and it's something that you can actually figure out from the scripture, that it is on that 50th day that the children of Israel received the revelation at Sinai. And if you make the calculation in terms of this turns up now, it's always on the 6th day of Sivan, and if you go, which is the 3rd month. So if you go back and you see in the book of Exodus when it all happened, you can see that it was probably on the 6th day, maybe the 5th, maybe the 6th, but it seems pretty clear that revelation happened on the 6th day of the 3rd month, which is when Shavuot happens. And connecting that, what we have is that both God and the nation of Israel are counting up the days between the Exodus from Egypt, which was the beginning of at the point at which God takes the nation out of Egypt, he's not just telling them, I'm freeing you from slavery. He's saying, I'm freeing you from Egypt, and now you will be my nation. So it begins this time when the nation of Israel is created as a nation. They're no longer just a family. They're created as a nation, and they come out of Egypt where God has selected them to be his nation. And the culmination of that is the revelation at Sinai, where there's that actual covenant between God and the nation of Israel. And we have the 10 Commandments, which was the beginning of the law, giving the law to the nation of Israel. And how do those 10 Commandments begin? I am the Lord your God, who took you out of Egypt. So there is this amazing culmination of a process that begins with the Exodus, then culminates with Revelation. And so there's a counting. There's a counting in the way of when you can't wait till school's over and you're counting, or you can't wait till you're going on your vacation. So you count the days. You can't wait. And here the same thing. We, the nation of Israel, are counting the days towards Revelation. And in some way, God is also counting the days, because he also is looking forward to that incredible meeting between God and the nation of Israel that takes place on Mount Sinai. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'd like to be sure you're getting all of our video content. So just click on the subscribe button below, as well as on the notification bell, and that way you will have easy access to all our material. We look forward to staying in touch with you. God bless you, and have a wonderful day.